And yeah, so I can't quite figure out where he jumped to Squeenix for this game. And sorry, that was a cat out the window. I'll start that bit again. So you can hear that.
Did that just drop out the window?
Yeah, he's just got the most annoying voice in the world. Anyway, sorry, I'll start that bit again.
Welcome to the AI Box podcast. I'm Chazzy.
I'm Dan Clark.
And I'm Ali Mitchell.
Now, you may have noticed that we've been away for a while. Now, we really didn't want to, but we went to the local church just before Easter, and the vicars said the best thing to give up for Lent was podcasting, so...
Yeah, basically give up the thing that you're most passionate about, so yeah.
We got around it, but we did a few Godcasts, but we thought you guys wouldn't appreciate that, so we kept them for ourselves, and...
and the Lord, obviously.
Well, yeah, he loved it. Can't forget him. Hope he listened in. No, the real reason why we've been away, we're going to get to in the What You've Been Playing section. I'll be talking about that then. But shall we crack on with some news?
Yes, mate. Let's get straight into it.
Okay, now, this one it's a bit of a long-running story, really, isn't it? Now, Square Enix have come out and said that Tomb Raider didn't sell well enough. Now, this is a bit of not an old story, but it's going to be about a week old by the time you hear this. But it just plays into the theme that we've spoken about before, that is that are publishers expecting too much of their games? See, they hoped it was going to sell nearly double what it sold. And it did really well. The game sold really well. So
yeah, this is the thing. Like Tomb Raider sold like 3.4 million or something.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Like Sleeping Dogs, that did amazing numbers. Like considering like what I think of the game anyway. But yeah, and then to see them say like, oh well, they actually needed to make like about 5 million in each game. It's just like I can't believe that they'd overinflated their like kind of estimates on stuff like that. I can't believe that a major corporation couldn't see like the bubble bursting, whereas like two numpties on a podcast could see it coming like a mile off like 6 months ago.
Yeah,
it's really no surprise to not see it sell 5 million. I mean, I'm sure it will probably get there eventually. It's clearly a good game. Lots of people are raving about it. But you can't expect to sell 5 million in your first month with a reboot of a franchise. Frankly, I mean, the last few Tomb Raiders haven't been great, have they?
So... No, it's a game that's been rebooted like 2 or 3 times now. And, I mean, as much as people still love the Lara character, people prefer to go back and play the games that they remember that they loved, rather than, I don't know, nothing against the new Tomb Raider, and I haven't played it, so I'm not saying it's a bad game. I've heard it's absolutely excellent. But, as Ali says, there's been like, Angel of Darkness, was it? The one on the PS2 that was absolutely dreadful. And then they came back for a while with... Well, Legend was pretty good, as was Tomb Raider Anniversary, but then Underworld, again, it was like trawling the same old cliches.
Just on the Tomb Raider side of it, they've got to have expected like quite a bit of shrinkage, like on what they thought was going to be their target, you know?
Well, as you say, we would have thought that, and I'm sure all of the listeners would have thought that, yeah, it's going to sell well, but not like Call of Duty numbers. Nothing gets those numbers, except Call of Duty. But
no, exactly. But yeah, it just seems, I can't see how they've just been so short-sighted. But so I'd imagine that's probably why WADA's sort of stepped down, is it?
It's partly to do with it. I mean, they had a really bad sort of profit-loss projection that came out a little while before the Tomb Raider story.
Profit-loss projection.
Well, yeah, but it's all things that, again, these are big companies with accountants to do that kind of thing. And yet, how can they get it all so wrong? So I think him leaving is possibly more a case of being pushed just to keep the Japanese shareholders and people like that happy. But it's a toughie. I don't know what they can really do to rectify it unless they totally scale back on their projections or just spend less on the marketing. I mean, Tomb Raider was kind of a bit in your face. Like, people complain that games don't get advertised enough.
Yeah, but the thing is there's that Assassin's Creed argument. You know, like Assassin's Creed was going to do nothing numbers, and then they sort of marketed the hell out of it, and then it became one of like the biggest selling games of that year. and that was put solely down to their advertising push. So I'd imagine there's a lot of a lot of companies that are kind of really backing their advertising campaigns to really try and sort of force a few extra sales.
I think Gears of War is another similar one that did that. Like, had an amazing advert on telly that everyone suddenly sort of jumped at, and oh, hang on, the 360 is going to be something major here. But I think maybe that works better for new franchises rather than ones that people know.
Yeah,
like,
something that's established.
But even though you're saying that they could save money by cutting the marketing, I mean, if they cut the marketing, they're going to sell even less than they've sold, and what they've sold still isn't enough.
Yeah, possibly. You can't really tell how much is too much to spend on. Like, it's impossible to tell without having like infinite universes to sort of test out the theory.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, like, a lot of these game adverts we see on TV, it's not even gameplay footage. So they could make the game like cheap and rubbish, but still put out this incredible advert.
Yeah.
It's like that Bioshock Infinite TV spot that they've got, and it's kind of like it shows everything that you can do in the game condensed into one small set piece. You know, and none of that actually ever happens, and none of it's even in-game footage. You know, it's all sort of like pre-rendered stuff, but it does make you think like, wow, that looks amazing, I'll get involved in that.
I do love it when a company puts up, rather than putting this isn't gameplay footage, when they put this is gameplay footage, and it's like, wow, that's pretty brave of you.
Like Defiance. Have you seen the advert for that? And I sort of saw that the other day and went, is this like some weird Halo spit? Oh no, it's just like some really crap MMO shooter.
I guess though, there's an even weirder thing I've seen. I mean, sometimes it says this is not representative of real gameplay. And think, well, wait a minute. I mean, it's not gameplay, and it's not representative of gameplay. What is it?
Yeah. Well, I guess that just means it's cutscenes, doesn't it? But
yeah, exactly.
I think we've long past the time when cutscenes can sell a game. It seems a bit of a PS1 thing, where you'd like Final Fantasy VIII, where like you'd see like 30 seconds of a cutscene on telly and think, oh wow, the game's going to be amazing. But I think we've kind of gone beyond that now.
Yeah, we're all a bit too savvy now, unfortunately.
Next story up, we've got a couple of games that have been announced. Now, one of them was announced on April Fool's Day. This is Far Cry Blood Dragon, which it seemed like it was going to be DLC for Far Cry 3, but it's actually a standalone game for XBLA and PSN coming this summer.
I really like the idea of it being standalone rather than DLC.
Me too, because I haven't got Far Cry 3.
Well, so I was going to say, because I rented Far Cry 3.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. Absolutely loved it. So to be able to not have to either rent it again or go out and buy a copy and just be able to have, you know, this extra section, that's brilliant. You know, it's like that Infamous 2. I think it was Infamous 2. They had the Festival of Blood there, like sort of add-on that you could just download standalone.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I think this is going to be a trend that these are going to come more and more, really, in the future, especially with all this streaming.
And you're going to sell more of the original product as well. See, I'm going to buy Blood Dragon for, say, 1,200 Microsoft points, and then after that, it might get me into that franchise enough that I go then and pick up Far Cry 3. So yeah. I think it's a two-way stream, isn't it?
But yeah, but I do love the fact that it's kind of sort of riffing off the whole 80s movie Cobra, you know, MacGyver, Robocop type stuff, and yeah, it's totally up my street.
It looks superb, and if you haven't heard. If you haven't seen the trailers for it, go and give them a look. Like, if you're thinking Far Cry 3 is going to be this like green lush paradise, but that you've seen it a dozen times before, this isn't that. This is something else entirely.
No, it's something totally different. But I've just got this theory, like, that's just popped into my brain that the girl who is your girlfriend in Far Cry 3, she was like an actress, and I just wonder if it's like some kind of mad, either like Tyler Durden thing in your own head, you know, sort of spurred off of her, or whether it's something to do with her and it relates to you in some way. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be like a film with her in it, maybe. I don't know, but yeah, something like that. I think would be mad.
In years to come, people are going to listen back to that bit that you just said and say, he was right, I told you.
Either that or, what a plum. What an absolute plum. He thought it was that. Come on. So yeah, either way I look stupid, mate, to be honest with you.
I just wonder if it's like the same size map as Far Cry 3, but everything's just reskinned, or if it's going to be totally different. I mean, if it's just standalone game on the PSN Xbox Live, then is it really going to be as big and expansive?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a smaller game.
Yeah, I can't see it. If it's standalone and you're having to download it, you're not going to be downloading like sort of 6 or 7 gigs worth of like assets. So I'd imagine it'll be its own. It'll probably be reusing some assets and, like, you know, bits and bobs, but put into new maps, you know.
A bit like Alan Wake's American Nightmare.
Yeah, very much so.
where it sort of encapsulates the feel of the original without carrying like the amount of data that needs.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, no, really excited about that. It looks like really good fun. Look, a bit of a kind of Saints Row 3 type vibe to it as well.
Yeah, and a slightly Tron-y vibe. Now, I know it's not set in like a... Well, we don't know it's not set in a virtual thing, but it's got that kind of neon-y, Blade Runner-y kind of look to the city that I've seen as well. So
yeah, exciting times. Can't wait to see that coming out, mate.
And another announcement that seems to have been sort of skipped over, in my view, but it's probably not been skipped over at all, because no one really cares, is the announcement of Drakengard 3. Now, a lot of people out there are probably thinking, well, hang on, what, a third one? What were the first two?
Well, I'm actually thinking, what on earth is this game?
And what it is a Square Enix published, Caviar developed, JRPG stroke Dynasty Warriors hack and slash 'em up.
So is this another one of those games that you two have played and is like the greatest obscure game that I've never heard of?
I think Dan
really
maybe
great.
likes it more than I do.
Yeah, I don't really like Drakengard so much. In fact, I've only played the first few hours because the hack and slashy combat really got on my nerves. But I'm trying to play it again at the moment, and this kind of tipped me over into digging out my disc and giving it a go. But you've played just the first one, right, Ali?
Yeah, just the first one. For me, it was a day one purchase. Actually, I was quite excited about it. For all the
there was quite a lot of hype, wasn't there, at the time? It was hyped up as being the next big thing in JRPGs. So,
well, yeah. I mean, its main quirk was that it was essentially Dynasty Warriors, but you could fly a dragon around the map and breathe fire on people and stuff, and it was pretty cool flying around that dragon. It worked, but ultimately
the draw distance was about 3 meters. It was there was so much fog. But so yeah, they're making a sequel, and I was quite excited because everyone was talking about, there's going to be a new game announced by Square Enix, and I know by now I should know that they're always going to be it usually ends up some iOS rhythm game or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It's not the game that I'm looking for from them. These aren't the games you're looking for, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I was quite excited anyway, and I heard rumours that there was going to be some connection with Nier, which we're going to be getting to later in the show. But then it turned out that it's a sequel to the game made by the Nier team years and years and years ago. A game that is not only forgotten, but as we've heard from Ali, even the people that do remember it and that went out and bought it day one, they don't even remember it that fondly. And then Drakengard 2 is remembered even less fondly. It's meant to be a sequel that drops off hugely from the first. And bear in mind that the first one's kind of a 5-6 out of 10 game.
So it's a proper miracle this is being made then, basically.
Either a miracle or sheer stupidity. But they're making it with a budget closer to sort of a PS2. It looks like it might have been a Vita game at one point. And there's rumours that it might end up on the Vita anyway. But it's announced for PS3 at the moment. But the graphics are sort of a step back from what you'd expect at this point in the generation. But it means if it means they're making sequels to games that would never have got a sequel, then I'm all for that. Especially if they're losing money on things like Tomb Raider that they're spending masses on, then I quite like the idea of sequels to games that would never have been sequelised. Putting
out something that's cheap but quite creative and will draw in a reasonable amount of people.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as you can cover going for quality, sort of quantity over quality.
Well, yeah, as long as you can keep maybe the quality of the actual sort of backbone of the game needs to be in there.
Right.
Another interesting thing with this though is that it's developed by Swery's Deadly Premonition team.
Oh right, okay.
So
they're being given license to have a bit of extra sort of budget and sort of take the next step up, as it were. Yeah,
well, either that or that Square know that they're very good at dealing with a very low budget.
Right.
So yeah, maybe give them a little bit more than they're used to, but not a full multi-millions kind of deal.
Just enough to keep them happy. Let them think that it's loads and loads, but yeah.
Maybe they can go sort of go large on their meals at lunch and stuff like that. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be a weird one. It's not going to sell in its millions, as I say. But
so we're basically just going to find you when it does if a sort of a Nier sequel comes out off the back of this as well, you'll be sort of holed up in some kind of cocoon playing away at near 2 or whatever it is for like God knows how long. We won't be able to find you or see you.
I'll find like a field outside of Stowmarket where I live somewhere and build like a complete medieval village in the style of the one in the game or something like that. And like, yeah, I'll invent like robots to like be the NPCs and stuff. Yeah, I'll go full on. I'm going to go full on mad with this one. Don't worry.
Not even robots, just like really crudely made scarecrows with people with faces drawn on them.
No, that's what I did for Drakengard 2.
With like a sheet of A4 paper that like rolled up into a scroll with like quest details on it.
Man, you're making it sound really interesting actually. So yeah, that's what I'll do if there's Nier 2, and we're going to be coming to Nier later on in the Hall of Fame. So we got one more and finally story. Classic FM's Hall of Fame for 2013 has just been announced. Now, it's voted for by members of the public. Last year, Aerith's theme got to number 15. Right. And this year, a couple of video games have made it in. Ali, I think you know what they are, don't you?
Well, yeah.
Not that this is a test, I'm not...
Yeah, you will be graded on it, so please make sure you really think about this one.
I'm happy to report I've done my research, and the Elder Scrolls series soundtrack has gone up 233 places to elbow Beethoven out of 5th place. And the Final Fantasy series soundtrack is actually now 3rd in the overall list. I mean, that's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah,
a video game soundtrack.
So are they actually doing like full soundtracks as opposed to individual tunes?
Yeah, the whole... the soundtrack of every game as opposed to just one.
I mean, tunes. Like, listen to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like the essential mix. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure they don't come on and go, oh yes, a lovely tune from Elgar here, bagging it up large. Let's go, geezer. Rave it up.
Shout out to the KFC posse Stratford.
That really whispery tone. Shout out to the South End Seafront Massive.
Another weird one that came in there was the music from Viva Pinata came in 174th.
Really? Actually, do you know what? That is a wicked soundtrack, though.
It is, but it's just a weird place for like. It's
actually,
very
do you know
low
what?
down.
That is a heavily underrated game as well, Viva Pinata. Both of the games in the series, very much.
I've only played the first one. I heard the second is like the same but more. Is that about right?
Yeah. Basically, it's just like a massive expansion pack, basically.
They look incredible to this day, though. They're the kind of graphics that never date, aren't they? I know we've spoken about that a million times, but it's just another one of those games that will always look nice, I think.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the classical music news for this week. Shall we take a break?
Yes, mate. Let's get to the break.
Good stuff. Break.
See yous.
So we've been away for a little while. We've got a lot to talk about. So let's have a chat about our bumper. What you've been playing? So yeah, I'll start off. I've been playing Persona 4 Golden on the Vita, which really enjoyed. I started playing that off the back of Ni no Kuni.
Yep.
So I'll be honest with you, playing Persona 4 and Ni no Kuni, like I'm totally burnt out on JRPGs for a while.
See, I was going to recommend you another one, seeing as you enjoyed Ni no Kuni, but I'll save that for
save it for about, I don't know, give it about 6 to 8 months. Yeah.
And to think that a few weeks ago you were so enthusiastic about both of them as well.
The thing is, I love them, but there's only so much a human can take in one massive, one massive session. Like, sort of, I've worked it out, I've probably done about 80 hours worth of JRPGs, and I'm kind of like, need something else. But Persona 4, what a great game. What a really great game. Obviously, like, it's been talked to death on like other podcasts and reviews and stuff, so I won't really sort of go into details of what it's all about. And that.
Well, yeah,
but,
there'll still be a lot of people that don't know the series, I think.
well, yeah, I mean basically, you're a bunch of high schoolers, some shit. I'm only ever going to like really condense it down into you're a bunch of high schoolers. There's some murders. You kind of turn into Scooby-Doo like squad and go around trying to solve these murders behind
Scooby-Doo meets Scream meets Final Fantasy.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And but no, I really enjoyed it. Really liked the kind of the way that it's kind of. Well, I ended up playing it, which was very modular, which was kind of a whole section of just wandering around a town, and it's like a quiet, sleepy town. So you're sort of wandering around and chatting to people and building up relationships with people, which help you with your stats and the stats of your kind of your personas when you go into battle. And then that's completely juxtaposed by like sort of going into like this fantasy world where you have to fight crazy monsters and stuff, and it's all action and combat, and it's really like you've really got to think about it and really kind of really strategize. So yeah, I've loved that, and it's been brilliant because obviously on the Vita I can do the sort of walkie-talkie bits just when I'm at home, really just able to contemplate what I'm playing. But then when I'm on the train, I'm able to kind of just
do the dungeons and stuff.
Yeah, grind through all the dungeons and stuff. So yeah, it's really worked out well for like commuting. But like some of the extra options you get like with this new version on the Vita, like really were like I was quite amazed by, like you have this whole thing where you can just sort of hit a button and go into a TV guide, and it's like comes up like sort of a Japanese type Sky Plus thing, and then you can just like watch like videos of like the Persona anime and like new like music videos of Persona music being played out in concerts and all this kind of every single piece of like background content that's ever been created for the Persona 4 game has been sort of jammed in there on just in this like, sort of hidden in the background on this game, and it's just there at a touch of a button at any time. It's really good. And then also this whole like sort of internet thing where you can send out an SOS and people can sort of they don't jump into your game. What they do is they sort of give you moral support. So they go like, yeah, I'm right behind you. And the more people when you hit SOS that respond to you, your health goes up, so you actually get like extra health to get through battles and things. So if you're coming into a boss fight, you'll hit the SOS, hope that like loads of people get involved, and then you've just got that little bit of extra to hopefully get through it.
Are they actually their own messages, or is it like a sort of pre-scripted?
Yeah, it's like most Japanese games where it's like a pre-scripted system. Like it's like go on, I'm right behind you, and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. Get a goal.
So what do you do if you wanted to do that in someone else's game? Like, do you go to a separate menu of like looking at the SOSs?
No. I think what happens is that you just hit SOS and then it will say like, oh, such and such needs needs some support, and then you just hit like, do you want to give them support, yes or no, and you just hit yes. And
so have you had that come up on your game?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
cool.
A couple of times.
Wow.
Yeah. But and then I don't think you get anything. I don't know. I couldn't really work out what you get out of it from your end, but I'm assuming that you obviously must get some kind of bonus or reward like to your XP or something, or if it goes well. So yeah, so I really enjoyed that. And I love the art style on that game. I've got to say, like, there's something about that game. It's probably the most beautiful art I've ever seen in the game. Like just physical vector, flat 2D, illustrations.
Yeah,
it
sort of suits, like, because you've sent me a few things where you're like, oh, this looks beautiful. What was that cover of the game last year? Need for Speed.
Most Wanted.
Most Wanted.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the Persona 4 menu style, if you know what I mean. Like very clean and crisp.
It kind of sort of reminds me of kind of Game of Death meets a rainbow. I absolutely love it. Like
I'll kill you next.
exactly. So so I was absolutely loving that game. So I thought, right.
Can I ask you one question about it? And also, like Ali, a question about it. It's kind of the same question but different. I've got both Persona 3 Fez and Persona 4 PS2 discs, right?
Right.
Now, Persona 4 is sealed, Persona 3 Fez isn't. Which one should I play? And should I play Persona 4 on Vita if it's got all these extras? Now, I know Ali can't answer that second bit.
Well, this is the thing. So I've not played the PS2 version of it, but I would say to you that the Vita is the way to go. Just because there's so much new. There's like new characters, like extra characters that you can create relationships with. There's all this behind the scenes content. there's the SOS features. I think it's like the ultimate bundle.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
like
if you've
Fez
got
was for Persona 3.
Yeah,
like,
and I think like if you've got a sealed copy of Persona 4, that's Persona 4 is the one that really everyone's in years to come
it's
is going to
worth a lot less, but
yeah.
But it's just the thing of buying the same game twice when I already have it, and I can play it on my PC in like glorious.
But the thing is, mate,
1080p.
I sort of picked mine up for like 17, 18 quid.
Mm.
You know, like so you'll be able to get it somewhere cheap, like reasonably soon. So maybe just like hold
just
fire.
hang on for a bit on that.
Yeah, but it's definitely. I mean, either that or I'll lend you my copy because it is absolutely amazing.
And
well, of course, I mean, they released Persona 3 on the PSP as well, the original PSP.
yeah, it's quite a cut down version though, isn't it?
Well, it's
cut
cut
down.
down. I thought it had more.
Yeah, the not overworld, the kind of real world sections outside of, is it Tartarus, the tower?
Mm-hmm.
The real world sections take place on just like a sort of 2D flat map. You don't actually do anything. You just choose to speak to people from a menu rather than
I'd
actually
still
run
say
around.
in a way I'd prefer that, actually, I think.
Ah, interesting. But is that because you've played like both Persona games and it would just be something fresh and an easier way to get through it for you?
Well,
I don't
once
know,
you've explored once you're familiar with an area and you know where everyone is, it's just a task, like running
Yeah, I
to them
suppose
to
you're
talk
right.
to them.
Once
I mean,
the exploration's out the way, yeah.
Yeah. So if you can just talk to them in a menu, it saves you some time and you're not missing out on anything. Also, in the PSP Persona 3, I know you could control all the characters in battle. In the PS2 one, you just control like the main protagonist, and then everyone else is AI.
Ah, interesting.
But I'd say
Yeah,
this Vita version of Persona 4 would be worth checking out over the PS2 one, because I keep hearing things about it which just don't exist in the PS2 one at all, and they are quite astounding.
Yeah.
Not just all the extra features, but didn't you say there was also some sort of like arcade unit type overlay that you can put on the PSP one?
Yeah, what it was if you've played the game before, you can obviously just skip through the cutscenes, but the way it skips through the cutscenes is it turns it into a VHS, sort of puts VHS scan interference on it, so that it sort of spools through and it puts this crazy overlay on it, and everything moves at like double speed and looks crazy.
See, even just saying that you can skip cutscenes there, now, no one wants to skip cutscenes on their first playthrough, obviously. But in Persona 4 on the PS2, you can't skip cutscenes at all. And sometimes before boss fights, there are like 5-minute cutscenes that you're going to have to watch every time you want to fight a boss.
See, the way I found out I did that is because I played through the first hour, forgot to save it, and then I was like, oh, I've got to play through this whole first hour again, and then like hit the cutscene button. I was like, wow, that's a really neat effect. Like, I'm mad.
Turned out it was only 10 minutes that you played.
Yeah, exactly. But it was just this like kind of crazy overlay and stuff, and like it was all sort of spooling through like it was on a VHS, and it sort of ties into the whole television theme of the the whole game itself. So it's just like I was like, oh, that's a really neat touch. There's just loads of lovely neat touches all the way through that Vita version of the game. It's just brilliant, and it really pops out on that OLED screen. So yeah. So other than that, got really burnt out with JRPG, so I thought, right, third-person action games, go back to my wheelhouse. Metal Gear Solid Rising, Revengeance, I'll give that a go. Spot on. That will sort of blow off the cobwebs. And man, did the first half of that game really frustrate me.
Oh man,
it was getting to the levels of kind of like how I feel about Alan Wake, right? And then
strong words.
But then I had an epiphany. There was a ball of light, and I suddenly realised that the game wasn't about like a God of War or a Heavenly Sword or something where you go out and you attack. The whole game seems to be about parrying and defending and then countering off your parry. And as long as you can get that parry like down, which is a bit weird because it's very much like Street Fighter where you have to sort of push towards and hit attack to parry. So as long as you can constantly do that and get that parry down, the game then suddenly becomes completely different, and you're blocking, opening people up, going into that sort of slow down time mode, and chopping them up and taking these energy out of their spines and stuff. And I mean,
I love the way you say all that. It sounds like it's really normal. I was just thinking, my mum's in business. Taking the energy out of their spines, opening them up, cutting them.
Yeah, exactly. I am talking about this as if you guys know what it is, but like, I'm gonna just assume.
No,
that,
completely.
'cause it's
Yeah,
been
no,
out for so long now.
it's totally cool. It's just sounded really funny.
Yeah, exactly. Like the most violent. It is pretty gruesome as well. I've got to say, like when you like you're slice, you've got to like slice through people's left hands to get their ID tags and stuff. So you're just there turning them into like dog food. It's ridiculous, but the story is absolute nonsense from start to finish. Like it's way beyond any sort of Metal Gear game in its kind of just
Really?
It gets quite dark in a way that other Metal Gear games haven't necessarily gotten dark as well, hasn't it?
Wow. Yeah, very much so. There's a lot of sort of platinum in that story, as well as like the sort of Kojima side of it. So yeah, it's a complete nonsense. But once I got that parry system down and I was actually able to start like really enjoying the game, and then it went over the hump and then became really rewarding because I felt like I'd really learned this mechanic, really learnt the mechanics and kind of really got that down to a point where I was pulling off anything I wanted to do at any point. And it's incredibly. I still think it's incredibly hard. I think the curve on it is like so. Like, let me give you an example. I got to the last boss, did what I thought was beat the boss, then had a sliver of health left, and then oh no, that's just the first stage of the boss, and then got killed instantly. Then had to go right back to the start of that again, and then go through that whole start of the boss fight again. Then managed to like sort of work out a way of having enough health to get through the second half. Got through to the third part of the game, right?
Yep.
So 3 halves, obviously, right? And then got into the third part, and then it gets down to this like quick time sequence where I've got to slice something, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't get the timing down and get like even with it slowing down, and I had to slice through this like tank coming towards me because if I didn't I'd die.
Now,
Couldn't do it.
Just out of curiosity, I mean, were you using like the right analog stick for your slashing, or were you using face buttons?
Yeah,
or...
but well, here's the thing. Throughout the entire game, I was like getting the slashes down no problem. But for some reason, for that boss fight, I had to invert my sticks because I was in such a panic that I was pushing, like I was going into flight controls, and I wanted to push up to go down and down to go up. And as soon as I inverted the controls, did it perfectly.
Wow.
It was just something really weird and peculiar to me, just for that one.
That's
section.
interesting, like because that's like how I am
then,
with all games. Do you know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, it was just really weird. I've never done it before, but like I just thought, well, I'll just give this a go. Did it first time, got through the boss fight. Like that, it was the next day as well. I spent like the game's really short, and I spent maybe I spent a good 2.5, 3 hours just on the final boss fight, trying to get it, and I couldn't do it. Turned it off, came back to it the next day, inverted the controls, did it in 15 minutes, and it was just like nuts. But like I said, by the end of it, I felt like it was really rewarding, and I'd really like learned a game. But it was a bit short, and the story was just all over the place.
You say the story's all over the place, and I agree with you, it really is. But because of the development almost hell that it went through, you can kind of tell at what point the game was passed over from Kojima Productions to Platinum, because it seems like the first half of the game is very story heavy. And then suddenly it's just no more story. Platinum are not in control. Yeah. Just big stupid fight after big stupid fight.
Like exactly, and it's just like loads of nods and winks and kind of odd little asides. But
if you'd have told a Metal Gear fan like back in say 2001, 2002, that like 11 years later we'd be talking about a game featuring Raiden as a main character, and everyone was going to love it, they would have laughed at you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, be interesting to see what they do with a sequel.
There's already a rumour that it's going to be something to do with Grey Fox, like the character from Metal Gear, but I don't know. Because obviously they're onto something now with Raiden, and at the end it does sort of have a question mark as such.
Before I forget it, because I won't ever mention it another time, man, you talking about the changing the analog like up and down for that one moment.
Yeah.
I've got like, obviously I spoke about going back to PC gaming, and I used to use the mouse inverted, where I thought pushing it forward was like tilting my head forward. But nowadays I play PC games non-inverted, but still, if I'm using a pad, even if I'm using it on the PC, I have to invert it. Yeah. So I just thought I'd mention that I've had a swap of how it works for my brain on the PC after years of not using one. Maybe it's because it's different to an analog stick. Who knows? But yeah, just thought, yeah,
Yeah, strange.
So yeah, I'd love to. Oh, if anyone listening inverts for certain systems or certain control schemes but not others, I'd love to hear from you because I find it really interesting. There's a lot of forums where people talk about it and like how different people's brains like kind of relate to it.
Yeah, or just in specific cases, let us know like why you do it.
Like if there are
That'd be really
certain
interesting.
games, or like for myself, it's third-person action games or third-person games. I get really confused when the aiming is the same as the camera controls you've got for outside of your vision.
Yeah, you've
Do you know-
said this
yeah,
before.
I know
about,
I have,
like,
man.
Uncharted and stuff.
Yeah, and I know I've said it before, but it's just weird that it doesn't seem to be talked about very much, and it's something that control schemes are a major part of games. So yeah, hopefully, like we've probably got more listeners than last time I spoke about it. So yeah, I'd love to hear your views on all of that, because some people think people are mad for inverted controls. They're like, oh, he inverts controls, he's weird. Do you know what I mean? So, but I've gone back to playing retro games now, like say PS1 and early PS2 games, and definitely old PC games from the 90s, where inverted is the norm for left and right on if you're playing with a pad. Do you know what I mean? Like for the first, and yet nowadays they've changed what normal and inverted means. So so God, that's me going on a weird rant, which kind of relates to what I've been playing. Now, you may remember that we spoke about doing a special birthday episode in the last episode, and originally it was going to be like a normal show with a couple of bits of comedy inserted here and there to kind of make an overall story of the thing. And then I got really involved in the story, and I didn't want to trip over my own toes. It was a bit like it broke the fourth wall like over and over again. And I suppose it's a bit like what, say, Kojima Productions go through, or Suda51, but on a really tiny scale, where you don't want to trip over your own shoelaces.
Yeah, you don't want to sort of break the fiction, as it
were. Or if you do want to break the fiction, you have to make sure that it makes sense in the order that you've told everything else. And so I'm not going to give away what the story was, because I am going to keep on working on it. But it was going to be...
Yeah, it's going to be our background project.
Yeah, but what I ended up thinking I could do a feature-length radio play in a fortnight. Do you know what I mean? Like, fully scripted, and be funny, and be dramatic, and, like, catch everyone off guard. And then you suddenly realise, well, if I want to do it in a fortnight, it's not going to be as good as if I don't. And then partway through writing it, like, my cat disappeared. Like, this is, like, it sounds really minor, but since my missus left, like, my cats are they're my responsibility, totally. Do you know what I mean? Like, they haven't got anyone else. And so it really threw me off guard that this little creature, she's like one of my best friends in a weird way. Do you know what I mean? Like, pets are. If you've got a pet and, like, you know it, then you'll know what I mean. People that haven't got pets are probably thinking, you nutter, you absolute nutter. But totally threw me off guard. And she'd gone missing while I'd gone to a gig, so I started blaming myself, thinking, well, I shouldn't have gone. And then, like, when I came home from the gig, the next morning it snowed, and usually when I come home, she'll hear the jangle of the keys and, like, run all the way up the road, and she didn't. Right. And I kind of knew that something was wrong, even from when I got home that night. But then it snowed in the night and she didn't come home that day. Oh, bless, she just come up next to me. Talking about you. And then I just thought of her little face, like, stuck outside in the snow. Do you know what I mean? Like, And then I started reading on the net that when the snow melts, if they've, like, been chased out of their area, they can't get back to where they were because the snow melting and the water sort of dissipating their, like, scent patterns that they've left kind of messes it all up. And then so it got me worried. Right, hang on, right. Right, you're like, where's this going, I suppose?
Where's this going? Yeah, exactly.
So I started playing this kind of alternate reality game of trying to get my cat back. Did all the usual stuff of, like, phoning all the vets in the local area, all the charities, and then I started doing the, like, printing off, like, hundreds of leaflets and then delivering them first in my road, then, like, the surrounding roads, and then going further out, and every night, like, going for, like, a 2-hour walk, jangling the keys because I know that gets her, and calling her name and stuff. And it sort of kind of stopped me from wanting to play games or anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, and in that same period, like 3 days after she'd gone missing, BioShock Infinite launched, and it was a game that I've been looking forward to for so long. Like, literally the one game I've really wanted for this past, like, 2-3 years, it's the one I've been sort of looking forward to. And I got a great deal on it, you know, that bundle where you got loads of games included. But I just didn't want to play any of them because I knew that my cat was out there somewhere and I could find her eventually. Do you know what I mean?
And you were sort of getting into a panic.
Yeah, completely. So, like, I tried BioShock Infinite and I do love it, but I haven't been able to go back and finish it because it just made me really sad for some reason. Do you know what I mean? Like you played it, right?
Yeah, I played it, and it was weird because I was saying to you, there's like I really enjoyed the game, and I'm not going to talk about specifics and stuff like that. And we will go into it at some point later on when kind of all the hype's kind of died down on it a bit, and you know everyone knows what's going on with it. But yeah, I kind of really like most of the game. I was kind of like the aesthetic and stuff left me a bit cold, but because it's that kind of picket fence Americana thing. And I've got no real cultural touchstone for it. So, like, it's not like the other Bioshocks where, like, sort of Art Deco, and I mean, we can go out and see Art Deco-y stuff here in London, and it's kind of more of a global movement. But, like, sort of that Americana thing's very specific to America, and it just left me a bit cold. But it was beautiful at the same time, so it really kind of confused me. And you know, it is kind of sort of dark in places, and like, yeah, there's like lots of sad motifs running through.
Also, I think it's meant to even feel unsettling for Americans. I hope it is anyway.
Yeah.
Like I say, I felt kind of unsettled by it a bit. At the same time, it was making me feel like elation at the same time that like we've got this far that like something like this can even exist. Do you know what I mean? It, like, left me with. So all
your emotions were just up, really roller coaster.
You know, like, and this is the same time that, like I say, I'd sort of driven myself mad trying to like piece together this whole overall story, and it was going to have like cameos, and hopefully those people will still come on board and do their cameos, like when we actually do this. But the overall theme was going to be that for anyone that's played BioShock Infinite, now I don't know the ending, but this all related. It kind of played into my story. And it was like, yeah, like this whole sort of built up, like not a facade, but you know what I mean? Like a sort of a world where everything in it doesn't quite sit right. And it related to my idea where all of podcasts were kind of this interconnected, like not joke, but do you know what I mean? Like this broader joke that I thought and hope will eventually one day work. And then it started playing into that. So I was like, oh man, I need to rewrite this so that it has elements of the BioShock universe or that way of thinking in it. So then I started like going back and then retrofitting it with BioShock, but so much so, like it's so intertwined at this point.
It became like fan fiction.
Sort of, but like not at all. It's kind of... It's just that they're so meshed now that it's kind of difficult to... Like, I won't separate it. Like, when it does eventually happen, like, there will still be kind of a nod to it somewhere. But yeah, it just started sort of driving me mad. So I thought, I'll try a different game. I'll play something else. So what did I try? Another game that came in the bundle, Spec Ops: The Line, which is, again, about, like... what is reality,
really harsh
and who's
themes,
telling like what you're playing? Is what you're playing the actual truth of what you're playing, kind of thing? Do you know what I mean? And I was like, oh man, what am I doing to myself? So I took a total step out of it and thought, right, I can only play one game, and that is LOL Captions on Congregate. Have either of you played that?
No, I've never even heard of it. Tell me, what is LOL Captions?
I've played it on and off. Like I've gone back to it, say, like only for a couple of weeks a year for the past like 2-3 years. It's a bit like Cards Against Humanity. Now they show you a picture, and then everyone has to type a caption, and then at the end you vote on the captions, but you can't vote for your own. And if you don't make a vote, you're disqualified. So just a very simple little who's the funniest caption game. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Just in
it's
browser,
a bit like before I used Twitter. To me, it was kind of like this. Yeah, it's like a really shrunk down version of Twitter with about like 10 people playing it at any point. But yeah, it's just fun to sort of like test your mettle with pure humour. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of drew myself into that. It's a very simple game. But yeah, I'd love to see more people play that. So yeah, look it up. LOL Captions on Congregate.com. and the Wiki game. Have you guys played that?
No.
Oh man,
Sounds riveting.
I've probably been playing like the two most obscure casual games that have ever existed.
Yeah, meta games.
Yeah, exactly. But I needed to stop my life being a meta game where I'm going out for like 2 hours a night looking for a cat, and then the rest of the time trying to piece together this story that like makes
and
sense
sort of
with
slowly
like
driving yourself bonkers and just like using these two things to kind of like just bring you out.
yeah,
of it.
just a really simple little game. The Wiki game is available for free online, or there's a paid for iOS version, which I'd love to try at some point. But what you have to do is it gives you 2 words, and you have to go from the first Wikipedia article on that word or name or term or whatever to the next one in the fewest steps.
Just by
Does that
clicking
make
on
sense?
links, yeah.
Yeah, just by clicking on links to Wikipedia within Wikipedia. Now there's ways around it. Like a lot of people, stupidly, a lot of them involve countries or places, which means that you can just go to, say, United States in any article about someone from America or whatever, or like India for Gandhi, and then it will give you at the bottom a list of other countries and you can go through it that route. But there's a mode where it doesn't let you do that, which is kind of the most fun. Fewer people play it, but yeah, it's just really interesting to try and think of ways that other people won't get to the same place in fewer links.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I've beaten the people that go for the country route. The country route, that sounds like an album by like Garth Brooks. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, the people that have gone through it geographically, I've beaten them on, say, I think it was a race from Los Angeles to the Green Movement. Now they went through it a really, really simple way, but it took them 7 steps, whereas I went through it kind of thinking politically of like what point in the Los Angeles biography would it relate to. Like I was thinking of the pollution. Do you know what I mean? It's like LA's got a lot of pollution, so I'll go through that route, find where it goes to pollution, and then it eventually ended up like very quickly at the Green Movement. I got there in like 2 steps. So it's just like a really it's a cerebral, weird
sort of
game.
Makes you
know what I mean?
think sort of sideways.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been playing. And then I've had this weird retreat into music, as I didn't really want to play games. I've kind of gone back to what I enjoy outside of games. And if for anyone that knows the show, you probably know that I dig my music. But you know when you sort of like hunker down and go back to sort of like 90s stuff, like you're the same-ish age, you guys. And like, or you know when you go back to the stuff that you listen to in your sort of like teenage years and that.
Yeah, pure regression. Like just to put a smile on your face.
Yeah. But then again, I was in this sort of weird mindset, and I was like, I'm going to find the tapes that I used to buy off bands that they made and sold themselves at gigs in like 92, 93, 94, like that never got released in record shops. I'm like, I'm going to find some. And then like went down this crazy rabbit hole of like weird blogs that first I got to one about fanzines, because I was like, that'll probably be a good place to start, because sometimes they came with like a free tape.
Mate, this sounds like some kind of like indie game that you'd find coming out of like San Francisco or something. You know, like some bloke in his.
Oh, you know, I've been going full on hipster, like full on mental and full on hipster. That's kind of what I've been doing. Do you know what I mean? Like cerebral Wikipedia games. A game based on meme captions, and going back to like these old cassettes from like, the 80s and 90s. But I ended up finding some. So I've just been sort of getting a bit lost in music. I do have to say that's been since I found my cat, the music bit. So I haven't just been sitting there.
So there is a happy ending.
Yeah, there is a happy ending. And like a week and a half later, I got a call from one of the vets that I'd originally phoned, and they said, we've got a cat that doesn't quite match your description. You say she's 6 years old. We've got one that we think is like between 2 and 3. I was like, yeah, she's like small for her age. She was always the runt. And they were like, no, but she's younger than that. I was like, no, it probably is her. So then I went to the woman's house, and there she was, just sat on this woman's sofa. Like, oh, you're right, mate. Yeah, cool. Yeah, hello. Brought her home, and she's like not left my side since. And she's like almost tried to walk me to the shops. She walks me to like the top of the road. But that's how she gets lost. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, don't follow me all the way up the road, because I'm not going to be there to like walk you back like in 2 seconds. You're going to have to run past all those cats that I was looking after you for. But I think she thinks she's the bodyguard. Stupid.
That's adorable though, man. That really is adorable.
Yeah, thanks, man. And Yeah, so it shows that if your cat goes missing, play the alternate reality game of going around and looking for your cat. So yeah, between trying to create this story about what was happening in video games news and stuff, I think what I've been playing is basically Descent into Madness, but neither the trading card game nor the Skyrim mod. So yeah, a bit of a weird one. Ali, what you been playing? Hopefully it's something nicer than that.
Alright, well, yeah, I mean, with this being a month and me being me, I've played quite a lot, but, you know, we're not going to go into all of it. I think probably start off, I mean, Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii.
Oh, right,
Now,
cool.
that's a game I've heard a lot of good things about.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about that.
Yeah, like real proper sort of old school hardcore platformer.
Yeah, like I've heard it's very. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I'd heard it was very difficult and very pretty as well for the Wii. You know, the age old caveat for the Wii.
Well, that's it. It is very pretty for the Wii. As pretty as, say, Mario Galaxy in terms of, you know, it achieves the look that it's trying to achieve, certainly. Cool. And it is a very good game. I'm a big fan of the original trilogy on the Super Nintendo. But I can say right now that even though this Wii version is very good, people should maybe still play the originals ahead of it if they haven't.
Really?
I mean, I think the level design's better, the enemies are better and more varied, music's better. It's, you know, this game's not bad. I would just say it's...
So did this kind of get a lot of a hype then? Was it kind of, you know, lots of retro goggles for people who love the old games?
Yeah, plus the fact that it's so hard, I think they thought, wow, yeah, finally a sort of kiddie-looking platformer.
A proper hardcore game for the Wii.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is really good, but considering you could get the originals on Virtual Console for, say, I don't know, 400 points, £4 or whatever, probably just get them instead of it if you haven't played it, you know.
Does the new one have the same feel?
Definitely in terms of movement. He is, you know, Donkey Kong Jr., he is quite unique in sort of how he moves, just like Mario was kind of, well, was unique in how he moves before everyone else started trying to be him. Although the main difference, in the original you could control Donkey Kong or Diddy Kong. In this, you just control Donkey Kong all of the time.
Sure.
And Diddy will sometimes come with you, but you can't control him. He's just there. And when you have him, you can jump farther and longer. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame you never get to control him. There is multiplayer support, so someone else can. But it's a shame that you can't
that's
just,
weird, isn't it?
Yeah, flip between them. Yeah, it's like, you know, Sonic 2 on the Mega Drive, you know.
Yeah. There's no like separate Tails mode.
Although in that, I'm sure you could just play as... yeah, I take that back, because you could play as Tails if you just used the second controller, couldn't you?
Oh yeah, but Sonic would just be left behind, poor little fella. Oh man.
Okay, I don't know. I've gone down a rabbit hole here.
Exactly. I'm going to have to break out the Mega Drive and test it. So what else have you been playing, man?
Okay, well, look, last week it's been all about XCOM. I finally picked it up for 15 quid. I've been wanting to get it for ages, but just waiting till it hit that sweet spot with the price. And for 15 quid, bloody hell, what an incredible game.
Yeah, it's a big lot of game for that amount of money.
Now, I played the original XCOM and also the sequel Terror of the Deep. It was on the PS1 that I played them. Even though they're, you know, sort of traditionally famous for
I'd
being...
forgotten that they were even on the PS1. Now you've said it, I can picture the boxes in the video shop. Nice.
And they worked perfect, you know. There was nothing wrong with them on the PS1, certainly. And now I'm playing this, and it's a really faithful recreation, albeit slightly sort of streamlined and dumbed down and missing features. And I don't mean the word dumbed down. It's not dumbed down. It's a brilliant game. Come on. But
like you say, streamlined rather than like cut back.
I mean, it makes me think that hopefully they're going to make a sequel and maybe that will include some more in-depth stuff now that a lot of people who have played this will be familiar with the basics.
Yeah, because I found that when I was playing XCOM, I really enjoyed the kind of isometric stuff and the kind of actual tactical bits. But all the kind of almost sort of iOS tiny tower base building and all the kind of building of weapons and gathering of resources really just was a bit... I was almost waiting for it to sort of pop up and go, do you want to pay like £1.43 so your plasma rifle will unlock a bit quicker? You know, I was always waiting for it, and I was like, it's really, half of this feels like an iOS game, and then the other half of it seems like it's an amazing like tactical game, and I couldn't sort of reconcile the two.
It's interesting you say that. I mean, it's made by Firaxis, who in the past have made the Civilization games.
Yeah.
And I think all the base building stuff is very similar to Civilization.
Right.
Certainly in a sort of conceptual point of view. So I mean, if you'd played Civilization games 5 years ago, you wouldn't be saying that.
Yeah,
it's just,
true.
You know, it's just this dawn of iOS free-to-play stuff that's now giving you that
Yeah,
impression.
maybe the iOS stuff sort of co-opted that. You know, it's an easy template to follow for that format. So, yeah, maybe it's just that.
I can see what you mean, though. Maybe, I mean, it's randomised, so sometimes you can be put in a position where, through no fault of your own, suddenly 4 countries are threatening to pull out because you're not giving them good enough support.
Yeah.
But you've not even had the chance to give them support because you're like 2 weeks into the game. So
yeah, exactly. It's like, come on, guys, be reasonable.
Well, it's a brilliant game. I love the isometric tactical combat stuff. I played through it on normal difficulty, and to be honest, by the end, I was thinking, this isn't up to much. I've sort of learned the AI and how to beat it every time.
Gotcha. Did you? I did love the moments where you're sort of halfway through a map and you think, yeah, I've got this really sussed, and then all of a sudden you sort of a wall comes down in a building, and and there's a big robot behind it or something, and you're just completely screwed.
Yeah,
it can just turn on a dime.
Well, that's it. I mean, by the end of my normal playthrough, I was thinking, hey, I've done this. There's not much. It's a shame that the AI isn't as good as it maybe could be, because the AI was the same as like 20 years ago when the original came out. AI's not advanced.
Yeah.
But then I started playing on classic Iron Man mode, and actually the AI's incredible.
Yes.
I'm getting outsmarted by it, and it's so satisfying when you outsmart it by flanking or sending people to positions where it's even not expecting you to put them.
There's no better feeling than that in games, when you've just got to the point where you feel almost at one with the system, and you can just you pull off that comeback victory or whatever, because if you position things in a certain place, that's it. It's game over, and it's just like that feeling of like sort of smug satisfaction at the end of it is there's nothing better.
There's even a lead-in at the beginning of the game when you choose your difficulty. Like, for normal, it says something along the lines of, if you're used to the original XCOM. So maybe they're just playing to that old AI and old rule set in normal, and then like pushing the boundary a bit further forward with the harder mode.
Well, what I found interesting, I mean, enemies actually move, even if they're not in your line of sight. I mean, I've played a lot of these sort of, grid-based strategy games.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time you find that enemies will just stay in a certain part of the map until you find them, at which point you'll have a fight with them back and forth.
Yeah, there's like a trigger point at which their actions will start kicking in.
Yeah, but in XCOM, I mean, they spawn at random points on the map, so whenever you start it, it's something new, and they move even when you can't see them. So in theory, I mean, you could just not move and maybe still win if you got lucky and they did come to you, but it's really good, it's good.
No, it's a cracking game.
Well, one of the things you can do in the game is obviously like customize your soldiers. Like, have you done that much, Chazzy? Have you got like Nigel Ben or anything?
Yeah. Well, what I did was I sort of went through and started like obviously doing what everyone else does and like sort of naming them after all my mates. So I had a Jason, a Will, and a Dan. And Dan's still alive, so you'll be pleased to know.
Oh, nice.
You're hanging in there.
Ooh. Can you give people health or anything in between?
Yeah, you can have like medics and like you can carry health packs and stuff.
Oh, but I'm still on the verge of death. Yeah, cheers,
well,
mate.
yeah. It's one of those ones where you seem to be in and out of the hospital an awful lot. Well, the thing is you're a heavy. You've got the rocket launcher, so you're sort of your prime target, mate. Unfortunately.
Yeah, fair point.
But that's the great thing about this game is you can go through and start naming people like crazy stuff or like after your mates, and then you get these like emotional attachments. So it's you're sort of desperately trying to keep like with me, I'm desperately trying to keep Dan alive. Every time I play it, there's just no way of doing it, and then you're just sort of like agonising, like do I win the battle or do I just keep Dan alive and retreat? So that's the great part of the kind of sort of like metagame of it that sort of sprung up.
See, now I've not customised anyone as of yet. I'm happy to sort of roleplay the characters that the game just gives me, because I know they're randomly generated, and I see it as quite nice. Like, hey, I've got Lieutenant Gonzalez from Argentina. I'm gonna look after him. Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
But then Vasquez, but do you find that like Vasquez becomes incredibly important? And you're just like, I really can't let this guy die. I really need to keep hold of him. Even though he's
totally,
not,
yeah. And then a rookie comes along and you think, right, rookie, you're just going in there as fodder. Like, you're going to die so that this other guy doesn't die.
You're a total red shirt in this situation. You're expendable.
Yeah, which is, it's interesting. I mean, I'm a bit of a pacifist, but here I am sending in rookies to die just so that Lieutenant Gonzalez doesn't hit it himself.
Fantastic.
Again, I think it's similar to, we've said this before, where if you don't name them after people that you know, like, because you're kind of breaking the fourth wall for yourself then, because you know that these people that you're naming them don't exist in that time frame of the game. Do you know what I mean? So you kind of almost care less for them because they don't exist, whereas the ones that are randomly generated by the game in some weird way in the game's eyes do exist. Yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, the game also gives your soldiers nicknames. There's like a predefined list of 100 or whatever, and if you do certain things,
Yeah, but you only get a nickname if you sort of rank up to a certain level.
Well, yeah, just after the first level they get a nickname, and it's their actions which they've done up until that point which define their nickname.
Exactly.
So, you know, I've got a guy who killed a few aliens with a shotgun. He got the name Shotsy, which is fair enough.
but
then
Shotty McAliens.
Yeah, but then I sent a rookie into this like building all on his own. Ended up being a wrong move. He was surrounded on all sides by 4 aliens, and they all took a shot at him, and they all missed. After that mission, he got the nickname Disco. And it's like, and the moments like that, they're brilliant. You know, it's like, yeah, this guy's Disco. He's cool.
I'll tell you what he
survived.
I'll tell you what is lovely though. Well, not lovely, but like kind of is a really nice touch. Is that kind of that memorial wall that you can go to and see all the characters that you've had killed, and it kind of plays that sort of soft music over the top of it, and it's like
it's bagpipes.
Yeah, bagpipes and stuff. Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, oh my god, this is utterly like heart wrenching. It's that.
I'd love it if you'd said it's bagpipes and Chatty had said no, it's Cockney piano, and it's actually localised for
yeah, exactly
where you are.
But yeah, no, it's just amazing that they've gone to that kind of level of detail to kind of like try and immerse you and stuff.
Mm-hmm. There's you talk about immersion. There's one thing that takes me out of the immersion, which is that every soldier has an American accent, no matter what.
Yeah,
it's just, you know, it's the same predefined things they always say. But
to be
it's
fair,
always
if you look
an
at any
American
conflict
accent.
worldwide, I'm sure most people you meet would have an American accent. Like.
But it's a bit weird, right? There's something I found out. Now, obviously, different soldiers come from different countries, and some people come from the United Kingdom, and they have Union Jack next to their name.
Yeah.
But then there are also people from Scotland. Like, Scotland is apparently independent in the XCOM world.
Oh, right, okay. Well, maybe, it's the far-flung future, so maybe that's like, you know...
Yeah.
Maybe they're planning on a yes vote in the referendum.
Because there's no Welsh people, no Northern Irish people. It's like UK and Scotland. Like, two different things. It's weird.
Very odd.
But anyway.
But does the Union Jack that they show still have the...
It does, regular Union Jack. So it's weird.
Maybe they'll end up as like 2 Scotlands.
But this is going to sound like I'm making it up. I mean, there comes a point in the game where you need to get a super soldier, and you don't have control over who this person is. Apparently it has to be someone with a gift, and in order to find out if someone has the gift, you send them to like psychic school for 10 days, etc. And it just so happens in my game I had a Scottish guy who had the gift. And so you're talking about localization. I mean, what are the chances that I get a Scottish guy as my super soldier? Because I've not edited it at all. That's how it happened.
Although they would know where you're playing from, it would be interesting. Like if again, I'm probably going like too far into getting
really
confused between fiction
theories.
and reality. Like,
after your previous stories, getting into conspiracy theories.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I knew both of you had played this. Do you know what I mean? And it came with my BioShock Infinite bundle, so I thought, all right, I'll give it a go because I know you guys have both sort of got on board with it.
Yeah.
But at the point when like it's difficult to distinguish fiction from reality, I didn't really need an hour and a half tutorial, so I'll go back to this and we'll like. Is there a story worth covering? Like, what's the story like?
It's
pretty
very
cheesy.
procedural.
Is it generic?
Yeah. Aliens are invading. You have to stop
It's
them.
incredibly CSI, you know, very much so. Like sort of CSI meets X-Files. It's nothing to write home about. It's more about the kind of the stories that you create as you go through it, and
kind of emergent your own little stories.
Yeah, totally.
Like, all of the cutscenes just refer to different equipment or buildings that you build. So, like, you'll build a rifle, it will show you a video of the rifle. You know what I mean? It's not a story. It's like Civilization. You build a wonder, and then, here's a video of the pyramids.
I've really got to say though, those cutscenes are atrocious. It's like they built the rest of the game, and then they went, right, we need a load of cutscenes. Right, we got a junior who's really good. Like, he made a few bits for like Quake 4 like years ago. Yeah, just get him to do some sort of Quake 4-y looking, like early mid 90s, turn of the century kind of cutscenes. They'll do. Fuck it, shove them in. That's the only thing that lets that game down for me. I just look at these people and I just go like, ooh. But there you go. That's me. Graphics whore. Sorry.
It's the new Ezio's jaw.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Ezio's monkey jaw. Yeah. But there you go. Anyway, so is that everything that we've been playing then? I mean, I'm assuming you're done, mate.
That's it for me, yeah. I mean, I could talk about other stuff, but hey, let's leave it for another time.
Yeah, we've been going on for way too
XCOM's
long.
taking your life anyway from the sound. So.
Exactly.
How many hours
Classic
have you done?
Iron Man, it's so good, man. Classic Iron Man mode it's really incredible. Can't recommend it enough.
Should I start there, or should I start with normal, seeing as I played the demo of the original XCOM Enemy Unknown, right? And then I've played... My only other reference points for this type of game are like Final Fantasy Tactics and Advance Wars and that kind of thing. Should I start with normal, or should I go straight in for your classic Iron Man?
I'd say start with normal and do the tutorial. You can turn off the tutorial in the main menu though, so you don't have to do it, and I'm sure you would figure it out. But I'd probably say start with normal, even if you just get halfway through it and then think, right, now I'm going to go to like classic
can you
mode.
switch up partway through?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Oh, cool. So yeah, that sounds like what we've been playing for the past 5-6 weeks.
Yeah. So, right, should we get to a break then?
Yeah, another one. Go for it.
Nice one. Break.
Bye.
Bye.
And we're back. Now, we said earlier in the show that we were going to shove Nier into the AI Bots Hall of Fame, but in the break, I've realised that you guys haven't actually played the game yet, have you?
No, mate.
Well, I say yet. It's probably unlikely to happen now, this many years after. But I don't want to spoil the game for either of you two, or for any listeners that haven't played it. I suddenly thought the only way to really properly talk about it is to totally spoil the arse off it, which I don't want to do. So
Right.
I tell you what, seeing as this week in the news we had the Classic FM Hall of Fame getting all the game soundtracks in, I thought what I'll do is I'll shove just the Nier soundtrack into the Hall of Fame. Is that alright with you?
Yeah, that's cool with me, man.
Cool with me, yep, go for it.
No worries, because I love this soundtrack. I know a lot of people listen to game soundtracks as actual albums, and there's some that I can. Maybe I can go back to, say, Final Fantasy VII Once in a Blue Moon and give it a listen.
Yeah. See, I always go back to stuff like Fez, like some stuff that's recent,
Yeah.
So yeah, that something nice and chilled out to just work away to at work with my headset on. So.
But do you think of it when you listen to it? Do you kind of think of it as, well, I'm listening to a game soundtrack, or do you just think of it as an album anyway?
Yeah, I definitely think of it as an album, as a kind of journey, that I go through as I'm working.
Yeah, like it's a separate thing of music in itself.
Yeah.
Outside of the game, yeah.
Yeah.
See, I find that a lot of the time I can't do that with soundtracks, but this one, it's not made up of licensed music, which I can understand. You can listen to those as an album many times. It's like having now that's what I call hits volume whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like the GTA ones.
Yeah, exactly like that. Or say the Wipeout soundtracks and things like that. I know they had a few original tracks, but yeah, this one's entirely composed for the game, and it's I'd say it's like a heady mix of folk, classical, electronica. and like even like choral music. But
Is that all in one track?
It literally is. Yeah.
Wow.
You'll get like a mash of at least 3 out of those 4 in pretty much every song, and some of those are things that I only listen to on the very peripheral. Like, I'm not much of a folk person. I might look it with the beard and that, but do you know what I mean? It's not like my sort of go-to genre. Yeah. I'm mainly into electronica, but it suddenly brings in little elements of these other things that I do like, but wouldn't probably...
Like really subtle hints, just like fading in and out and stuff.
Yeah, and I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to that kind of thing. But yeah, this soundtrack totally fascinates me. Now, the main composer is a guy called Keiichi Okabe. There's probably going to be someone writing in now saying, it's actually Keiichi Okabe. But
Was there a difference in those 2 pronunciations?
There will be to someone, yeah. There's like Okabe and Okabe. See?
Right,
massive
okay.
difference.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah, and he's got a studio called Monica. Not Monica, as in Lewinsky. Not Monaco, as in...
Monaco.
Grand Prix and the band, yeah. Monaca. And what he's known for in the past is pretty much Tekken soundtracks. That's his bag. That's where you'll find his name most. He almost exclusively worked for Namco. His first credit's actually for, do you remember Air Combat? Called Ace Combat, I think, in the West.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, like his first credit is on a track from the first of those games back in '95. So he's obviously just been like sort of sitting there in the Namco office, but all he's put out is like, say, a dozen tunes in like since 1995.
Wow.
It's like, what else? Is he a T-boy as well or something? I don't
nice
quite
work
know.
if you can get it, man.
Yeah, you
like
know.
the Namco version of me, in a way. Yeah.
Bless. So yeah, like somewhere in between the two, he's jumped ship from Namco to doing this game with Square Enix. But it's not the actual music that interests me most, it's the vocals. Now, you don't even get many game soundtracks with vocals. Do you know what I mean? You might get like one track on a soundtrack that is a real song.
Unless you're playing Persona 4 and every single track's got a vocal on it, yeah.
That's probably the closest reference point in that, yeah, Persona games, almost everything has vocals.
Yeah.
And I think, well, 99.9% of the tracks, I think there's maybe one that hasn't got vocals, 1 or 2.
Right.
And it really struck me at the time because, yeah, it is unusual to hear that much of a human voice in a video game soundtrack.
And when they're singing, I mean, do the lyrics relate to the story at all?
This is kind of an interesting one. See, I don't often listen to tracks with lyrics because it's like they're trying to tell you what the song is about. Do you know what I mean? I'm probably sounding really weird there. No one's going to relate to that.
It's like giving it, like, sort of, you're trying to say like it's giving away like plot points or like, you know, subtle references to stuff that you don't. really know
or
about.
even in pop music, like if the lyrics are sad, then it's telling me you're meant to feel sad for this song. But
right, okay.
But sometimes that's not kind of how it works. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of besides the point, but related to it.
Yeah.
Because the lyrics for this are not in any actual language.
Right.
Now that sounds like it might be sort of like gaga goo goo mama baby.
Well, you're making it sound like Simlish at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. That's, if I'd read about it, that's probably what I'd think myself. But the vocalist Emmy Evans, now she's a British girl who moved to Japan for her studies. She's got a Japanese mum, but she wasn't interested in Japanese culture or anything Japanese really until the age of 17. But she had always been into music because like her family were well into that. It's interesting that she didn't sort of take an interest in her mum's culture, I find. But I suppose if you're growing up in Britain in the 90s, that there's so much else going on that maybe there just wasn't time to delve into that. So yeah, as she grew up, she got more interested in Japan and moved there for her studies. I suppose it helps having a Japanese mum, and it all kind of tied in. But the Japanese music was a bit too clean cut for her. She didn't really dig the J-pop, and I can kind of understand that, especially, again, having grown up in the 90s in the UK. You've probably got all these
West.
much edgier references. Yeah.
Right.
So she started a trip-hop act. Now, trip-hop is something... Do you know what I mean? It's like
big,
a relic,
big in the
almost.
90s.
Yeah. But I'm imagining, like, there probably still is a lot of trip-hop acts out there. And also, a lot of things that would have been called trip-hop then are probably under different names now. Do you know what I mean? Different genres, it's all split down. But yeah, she's in a trip-hop act with a Japanese electronic musician called Hiroyuki Muneta. Now, they're called Freescape. That's double S, not Freescape, the old Spectrum 3D engine.
Right.
For anyone that's wondering if that's what she created when she was 4 years old. But her first vocal credit in a video game weirdly, is Etrian Odyssey. Do you remember we were speaking about this a couple of episodes ago, or last episode? And then when I only found this out recently, I was like, hang on, that's really odd. Like, how did she get involved with that? And I've got no idea how she got involved in Etrian Odyssey, because the way she got through to Nier is entirely separate to that. She'd met someone at a party, the guy was DJing there, and she gave him a CD by the trip hop act she's in. But it turns out that DJ was close friends with someone from this Monarca studio, who at the time were doing the Nier soundtrack. So they asked her along, like, so you go along for this interview thinking, oh, they want me to sing a couple of songs. And she gets there, and they're like, so can you write the lyrics for us as well? She's like, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can write lyrics. Her dad's actually written lyrics in the past. It's like part of his work.
Right.
So she thought, well, yeah, I can do that. That'll be easy. They said, the only thing is, the game's set a few hundred years in the future, hundreds and hundreds of years in the future. So we think the languages that will be spoken on Earth at that point are obviously going to have evolved from what we're talking now. Well, hopefully they'll have evolved from what I'm talking now anyway, at the very least. But yeah, so they asked her to compose these tracks in 8 languages that she had to not invent, but they asked her to sort of extrapolate from where that language is now by watching YouTube videos.
That sounds incredibly overwhelming.
Isn't it? Like, how deep does the rabbit hole go, kind of thing?
Well, yeah, it's like you turn up to just do a little bit of like session vocals, and then all of a sudden you've got to write an entire language. Yeah,
8 of them, in fact.
Yeah.
And of those 8, 7 of them are based on real-world languages. There's like French, Gaelic. There's an English one. I can spot sounds in the one that is based on English.
Right.
I can tell which one is the English one, even though I don't know. But I can tell from being English the one that sounds like my language.
Yeah, most European.
And I can tell the one that's based on Gaelic because it sounds most like sort of Irishness. And there's one that she made up entirely from scratch as well. There's actually a made-up language like Klingon or something in there too.
Right.
But that's kind of why I wanted to highlight this, just because, as with the game itself, if you delve a bit deeper, you'll find that there's even a story within a story to the making of the game.
Right.
So, yeah, I just wanted to highlight this for people that might be looking for something unusual to listen to, and because I think it deserves going in the Hall of Fame. Now, you can find the whole soundtrack on YouTube. I know you can do that with every game soundtrack, but this one is out there as one whole long video.
Oh, right.
So if you want, you can sort of immerse yourself in it for like a couple of hours and just get lost in it.
Nice.
And it's not just made the soundtrack album. There's been tribute albums. There's unofficial tribute albums. There's official remix albums. Like, I think what they've ended up with is the official soundtrack, 4 other albums, and then there were even 2 mini albums that were only available for Japanese pre-orders of the game. So there's so much music if you want to go and delve and find it. So I'd love people to go out there and at least give it a listen and let us know what you think of it. Like, you might hate it, but I'd love to know your reasons why you dislike or like it, and the tracks that you enjoy and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's what's going into the Hall of Fame this week.
Fantastic.
So shall we crack on with some questions?
Yes, mate. We're going to do retro questions as we've been away for so long.
Yeah, these are back from the Spectrum era, pretty much.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So who wants to do the first question?
Okay, well, this one's from Hogatron. He says, with the announcement of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, what other bands will make good subtitles? He votes Call of Duty One Direction, but what do you guys reckon?
What have you got, Dan?
Tell you what I'd have Boney M. Bison. Now, it would be kind of a cooking mama game, but with rhythm action mixed in. You have to do it to a disco beat.
Right.
And starring, obviously, the Street Fighter 2 boss. Yeah. And the idea is to make sure that he doesn't starve.
All right.
So, Boney M. Bison, that's my tip for this year.
All right, fair enough. I reckon... well, see, the thing is, I'm actually... I've heard a rumour that there's a possible, BioShock Infinite DLC coming. It's called BioShock Infinite Led Zeppelin. But I don't think really, the people who've pitched it haven't really pitched it too well to Irrational, and I don't really think it's going to get off the ground.
It'll go down like a lead balloon, won't it?
Exactly. So yeah, and then the only other one I could think of would be SSX Snow Patrol. You know, it's like a quite dull little inoffensive snowboarding game where nothing much really exciting happens, but then sort of inexplicably goes off and sells millions of copies worldwide, and no one can really understand why.
Doesn't that happen with lots of games anyway?
Yeah, pretty much, mate.
And Snow Patrol albums. So,
and Snow Patrol albums, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But would you actually have to patrol the slopes? Like,
maybe,
Yeah.
yeah. But you wouldn't really have to do much. You just sort of patrol the slopes.
just make sure no one's having any fun. Basically.
Yeah. Just not, don't have any fun. Don't do anything too dangerous. Just keep it really kind of inoffensive, you know. So yeah, they're my two.
How about you, Ellie?
Well, my one's kind of not safe for work. How do we think about it? Prince of Persia, the Arab Strap.
I'm liking that.
Yeah, I think the less said about that adventure, the better. But I'm also thinking, I mean, the next Assassin's Creed could be, like, after Black Flag, obviously, Assassin's Creed Placebo. Because they've spent so much time trying to make us think that this game's evolving iteration after iteration. And, you know, hey, it is a placebo, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
But then Call of Duty, Broken Social Scene, or Call of Duty Teenage Fan Club, I'm not really sure about them. We know what the community's like online. And,
Yeah, I think Call of Duty Teenage Fan Club almost sums up every Call of Duty since Modern Warfare. That's a good one. I'd also go with Blinks 182. Do you remember Blinks the Time Sweeper?
Yes, mate.
But I don't think people would want another 180 sequels. No. I don't think they'd ever get to 182. So. And then we've got a couple of other questions that we're going to have to save over for the next show, I think, because we've overrun by miles.
Yes,
and also, it means we've got questions for next time if no one asks any.
Yeah.
But we've got one from Leon Cox of the Cane and Rinse podcast,
Yes.
also known as Ratso Albion. He's asked, is Alan the cow in Hard Driving actually a cow?
Well, technically that's a misnomer, because if it was a cow, it'd be female. So you can't have it wouldn't have a male name. So unless this cow's transgender, right, I reckon the only way that Alan the cow can actually be a cow.
It's Alan the bull, or
it's either Alan the
something
bull,
else the cow.
or something else, or it's two blokes called Alan in a cow suit.
Like a pantomime.
Yeah, like a pantomime situation.
Hard Driving, come into the like Dartford region, or
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that could. Yeah. Also, I think another way to phrase this question, from us having a little Google, you could say, is Alan the cow in Hard Driving actually an Alan? Because now I don't know if we're missing something here, but we can't find any reference to the cow being called Alan. So I don't know if this is just maybe like Leon and his mates at school called it that, or is it some larger game joke that we're missing out on? Is it like a massive meme that we don't know about?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, A, Leon, do let us know, and B, anyone else out there who's got any memories of what that cow in Hard Driving's called, also let us know.
Yeah,
and another thing is, you know when characters don't have names in games, a bit like Alan the cow, but you know when you've got like, say, not necessarily the ghost in Pac-Man, but because they have got names, but that kind of thing where...
Yeah, a non-playable character is not actually mentioned, or, you know, it's just...
Yeah. Like, has anyone out there given names to them that aren't the official game names? We'd love to hear what they'd be. And if you want to let us know about those, you can email
at theaibots.com.
Or you can find us on Twitter at theaibots. Or you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/theaibots. And we'd love to have any questions, anything you want to hear us talk about. What would you like us to put in the Hall of Fame? Let us know. We appreciate your comments and your feedback. Give us a review on iTunes as well. We love that kind of thing.
Yes, mate.
Tell us again. Like, if you like us, tell us why. If you don't like us, tell us why. And one more thing that should I mention it? Shouldn't I mention it? If anyone's listening to this show because they found us via the Kickstarter story, now we can't really talk about it on the show. There are reasons. If you look on the net, you'll find that there are reasons why no one can really talk about this. But I will just say that do go and look into the people that crowdfunded this and other projects that they've done. Just go and look for it for yourselves and make up your own minds. So
nicely weaved through, sir. Like
but yeah, just go and look at it, and again, don't write us in and let us know what you think, because that will get us into all sorts of mess.
Dan on his legal skateboard weaving through.
Well, definitely. But I don't want to get in trouble with multi-million-dollar criminals or not criminals. So
yeah, exactly.
Have a look at it and find out for yourself. So
cool.
I think we're done for the show, aren't we?
Right, let's get out of here.
Nice one. Take care, guys. See you soon.
Right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.